Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Business Coaching Secrets, where we give you the strategies, the mindsets, and the frameworks, of course, to building your own 6 and even 7-figure coaching business. I am, of course, your host, the Road Dog, with none other than the man, the myth, the man of 2025, as celebrated by Business Coach Daily, Karl Bryan. Shoots.
Shoots. Is that a thing? Is that
I don't know. It is now. I'll get the guy to generate the magazine for it.
Yeah, there you go.
Check what's on the front of that, bud.
Bloody you and me, Shoots. Dolphins. Let's do it. Well done. That's good. How are you, brother?
I am busy. I am sick. Hence the deep, sexy voice today, folks. You're welcome.
Shoots.
Yeah, it's all happening, buddy. It's all happening.
2026, bud. 2026. Let's rock, bud. Let's
2025. I barely knew you. You know, like that. I don't even know what. Where did that year go? I don't understand what happened there.
I know. Shocking, bud. Shocking. Anywho, let's rock, bud.
Yeah, let's do this. Hey, listen. I guess as I sort of reflect back and just sort of on, as everybody, you start the year, you're reflecting on your goals and your you know, whatever you want to call it, your targets for the year. And I kind of think back on, you know, what's some good sage advice and all of that stuff. And I thought, you know what, probably one of the best pieces of advice, because again, it's compounding, is let the cat out of the bag there for a second, but in compounding, it also compounds not just money, because we always talk about compounding as money, but what about the compounding effects? I also thought of just daily actions and the boring details in business. And it really got me thinking, can you give us some best examples of compounding for a business coach?
Oh, there you go. Okay. Good question, Shoots.
I'm coming out hot, buddy. I'm coming out hot.
Buddy. You're coming in hot, Shoots. Well done, bud. Well done. Okay, so frame maybe. Okay, so you'll know this example, folks, right? But you double a penny every day for 30 days, and what happens? In 30 days, you get $5 million. By the way, you go to day 31, and you're at $10 million plus. The problem with it, as we always say, is that it's not until day 25 that there is any level of excitement, right? Like the numbers are tiny and very lame up until that point, and then everything takes off, right? So that's there's your example. There's your frame for compounding. My apologies for that, right? So your activity and your learning is the same, right? So let's think you're dialing into 2026 and you're going to crush this thing. You got your new consistency, you got your new discipline, you got your new activities that they get rocking. And then what? They feel like they're not making any progress until you hit the equivalent of day 25. And how long did I say it takes to get to day 25? And that's forever, right? So it feels like forever. It feels like you're not getting anywhere. Like at the beginning and in the middle of a new activity, you feel like you're in quicksand, right? So the problem to that is you take on the new activity and you're looking for improvement in a linear fashion, right? But progress doesn't happen like that. And you feel like it's not working, right? Like you're not getting anywhere despite the fact that you're now hitting the gym, that you're making the calls, that you're doing the networking, going to the networking functions, got your new elevator pitch, you got your new pitch, you've got your new knowledge, your new enthusiasm, your new passion, your new purpose, right? You're running ads, okay? And all of a sudden, again, it doesn't, why is it not working? And I got to tell you, this is almost the guarantee of any new activity. Like what Charlie Munger would say, he says, the money is not in the buying or the selling, it is in the waiting, right? So that's the compounding effect. So maybe translation to that, the most powerful outcomes are delayed. So you introduce me to somebody who's wildly wealthy. I'll introduce you to somebody who's adopted delayed gratification as a frame that they are well and truly accepting, right? So translation, again, they're willing to wait until day 25 to get the excitement of day 26 to 30 and then to 31. Or maybe, like I said last week in the, new year, new you type rant, it's the bike trail every day for 30 days, right? The bike trail is brutal until it isn't. What happens? The bike trail doesn't change. You do, right? You become stronger. You become better. You become more determined. Your fitness goes to new heights, and the strength in your legs and whatnot goes to new strengths, right? Like, so translation again, suddenly the bike trail is really easy. But again, the bike trail didn't change. You do. So I would say compounding, like train your mind to be calm and consistent. And maybe again, in the words of the late, great Charlie Munger, he says often it's temperament over brilliance all day long and twice on Sunday. So you gotta manage that temperament. But so shoots, they're looking for linear growth. They're not feeling it. And then they feel like it's not working. That's not the way progress tends to go. It does much like day 1 to day 25, very lame. And then day 26 to 30, wildly exciting, but often we don't get there. So that's my answer, Shoots.
Okay. I got another one for you here. And this is obviously everyone has huge, ambitious goals when you start a new year. I'm going to make $1 million, Shoots. I'm going to have like 100 clients, and it's going to be hashtag best year ever. Listen, let's fast forward a little bit. And let's say a coach lost a client that they felt should have stayed. Wow, this sounds like you and me sitting at the on the dock at the El Dorado where I lost a client. I was all like the saddest store window.
Yep.
Shoots.
I remember.
So what do you do? Okay, because again, losing clients, folks, is inevitable, right? But Karl, it's like, tell us, you lose a client, you lose your confidence, and they're looking for direction. What do you tell a coach in that situation?
Very similar to what I said to you at the El Dorado, man. It's all good, man. It's an awakening more than it's anything else. What would I say? Okay, so here, my mind, it reminds me of my ex-fiance, right, in Australia, many, many moons ago, over a couple decades ago, right? Their family was incredible, taught me an unbelievable amount. Her dad was literally a legend. I loved him. Her brother was, he's a big timer in Hollywood today, super successful family of doctors, high achievers. Let's put it that way, right? A coaching client is like a relationship. Men don't, let's say, quote unquote, wake up from reassurance. They wake up through loss, right? So if she stayed, you would have stayed weak, right? If she loved you the way you wanted to be loved, you wouldn't have evolved into the man you needed to become, right? So she's not the one that got away. She's the one that woke you up, right? So the solution is really simple. Build yourself into the man no woman would ever want to separate from, right? Like that's the polar opposite of being the yes man, right? What would define that? Strong in principles, strong in work ethic, strong in purpose. And it's not the guy running behind her cleaning up the kitchen and mopping the floor, right? You want to impress your wife, hire a cleaner, right? So, and by the way, don't do this from a place of revenge. That's not where that's coming from. It's come at it from a place of mastery, maybe a place of status, a place of mastery. Some women are just not meant to stay, right? They're meant to initiate your transformation. They're your awakening, I suppose, right? So it's the same with coaching clients. Some aren't meant to stay. They're meant to be that awakening, right? Your client doesn't need a best friend. They need a hard son of a gun that doesn't buy into their many excuses and the limiting beliefs. To be quite frank, with their programming, right? They need someone driven by purpose, theirs and yours, by the way. They need a sexy P&L. They need a successful business that's systematized and profitable, right? They don't need to quit. They need to pause, right? They don't need to exit their business for 7 figures. They need to build a business they could sell tomorrow, but don't want to. That's like next level thinking right there, right? Like most people are chasing the exit, 7 figures, multiple 7 figures, even multiple 6 figures can be sexy for some, right? That's not the next level. The next level is to build a business they could sell tomorrow, but don't want to. And how do you do that? You install an operating system that can be executed that is wildly profitable, right? So said, and do that and watch. That's the coach that they will never separate from. But in some cases, it takes that awakening, right? It's like it's energy as much as anything else. Right? Think of a Steve Jobs, a Bezos, a Zuckerberg. They have and have had powerful energy. I don't know any of them, never met them, right? Obviously. But otherwise, they would have never achieved. How do I know that? They would have never been able to achieve what they achieved if they weren't, being driven by that purpose, by that level of energy to just blow you away, like their vibe. Like when you go to a networking group, right? The truth is that everybody knows who the real deal person is in the room. Why? It's an energy that just can't be denied, right? Say, don't walk in like you want to buy the place, walk in like you own it. And maybe this client is that awakening. And by the way, very importantly, I'm not saying that, you don't want to be arrogant. I'm talking about a level of confidence, not arrogance. And there is a difference. And there's a debate to say that it's slight. But I would just say that, somebody leaves, it's like, you're going to cry in your Cheerios. Is it time to get to work? You got to be able to move the needle with your clients. And a couple things that I say a lot, like it's not doing your best that'll get it done. It's you got to do what it takes. Pros don't get paid on game day, on Sunday. Pros get paid to practice. And then they don't practice to practice. They practice to improve, right? How do you practice to improve? Quite frankly, probably give you one word, and that is measurement. Anyway, so that shoots, that's, sometimes it's an awakening, but crying in the Cheerios is not the way to handle it. It's like when somebody, a relationship breaks up, it's ideally time to get to work as opposed to start mopping the floor kind of thing, right? That's my answer, Shoots.
So when you're talking about vibe, like just trying to remember, you talking about like a waiter in a high-end restaurant having a higher level. Again, you talk about vibe than the customers. Can you sever that?
Yeah. Nice. It's like, okay, so the waiter, the most experienced waiters, let's call it, okay, and waitresses, they didn't spend. They've got a vibe. They walk around like they're a higher level status, right? They didn't spend their time at your table building a bunch of fake rapport, right? Waiters in the highest end restaurants, they walk around like they what? Like they own the place, not like they want to buy it, but like they own the place. They carry themselves like they're a higher status individual than the people sitting at the tables. And again, it's, if you were to sum it up and what you're describing, and an email that I wrote, a blog post I wrote a long time ago, but it's like their vibe, right? And by the way, you like it, but you often can't quite work out exactly what it is. You just know that you're dealing with somebody professional, and there's an intangible that makes them attractive. And people are attracted to attractive people, right? It's got zero to do with your looks. And often a beautiful woman will be unattractive by the way that she carries herself, right? And no doubt there's many guys that are very attractive that will be unattractive by the way they carry themselves, right? And why and what's the problem? As a business coach, you're trying to build rapport rather than break it. And I would invite you to my daily emails, an example of that. The number of times that I've been told that, you know what I mean? I'm an idiot and oh my gosh, and whatever. Like it's not about building rapport, it's about breaking it. And it tends to attract the right type of people, right? So think of the saying, people want what they can't have, right? Neediness is your enemy, and you're quite possibly accidentally giving off that needy vibe. Again, you got to walk in like you own the place, right? Think of experienced salespeople you dealt with and you bought high ticket things from. They weren't insanely nice and over the top accommodating. I would be amazed, right? Quite frankly, they're a little bit the opposite, right? Very professional, very matter of fact. So a question that I would pose is, are you trying to build rapport and be accommodating, Or are you coaching, posting, commenting, doing daily emails, speaking like you're a higher status individual than your prospects? Like being timid, nice, and accommodating, it's probably not the way to get the job done. You want to create a purposeful, again, it's not arrogance. It's about a purposeful vibe. And by the way, Tony Robbins, you love him, you hate him, it's irrelevant. Watch him speak. Watch the way he holds himself. He holds himself like he's a higher level individual than the person that is interviewing him, right? And by the way, don't listen to what I'm saying. Go watch him, and then you tell me, all right? It's the way you speak. There's a saying, or maybe we'll call it a frame, but the way you speak is the way you think, right? So what do you got to do? You got to think big. Speak it into the world. It's like hypnosis, but instead of dancing like Pee Wee Herman, you're suddenly crushing it with your business and attracting all kinds of high-end people. And again, not from a place of arrogance, but from a place of confidence, from a place of energy. Move slower and more purposeful than the other people in the room. I said, like when you walk into a networking function and it's pretty obvious that there's one person there that seems to be the real deal and people tend to want to, meet and be introduced to and speak to, they're moving slower and more purposeful than the people around them as a general rule. Right. So like one of our coaches, I met him. We did an event in Atlanta, went to meet him. His name's Terry Massey. Awesome guy. He's got a client that has been with him for 16 years. Right. Like that's like a marriage, right? Frankly, a marriage on steroids. That's mastery in action. So your self-esteem, talking about somebody losing their coaching client, remember your self-esteem can be measured by your persistence. When they want to cancel, do you cry into your Cheerios, like I said, or do you double down and get to work? How do you get to work? What do? Get them on the phone and resell them into their vision, the need for your accountability, for your direction, to finally build what the two of you have been working towards and stop them from allowing that overwhelm excuse to keep creeping into the conversations, right? When they say they want to cancel, what do? Do you go to sleep or do you dig in and work harder, right? In a relationship that's worth fighting for, what would you do? Think of a marriage. Think of a relationship with the opposite sex, right? You would dig in. You wouldn't you may pivot to go look for a new one. And by the way, that might be a right decision in it, in some dynamics. But generally speaking, if this is a client worth fighting for, what do? You get to work. And by work, I mean, dig in, right? Like many of my best and long-term clients have tried to, they've tried to exit at different times, right? That one difficult conversation is often the catalyst to them going to entirely new heights, right? It's like awakening time. So, and always remember this, a coach that goes month to month, quarter to quarter, deciding if they're going to keep going as a business coach, right? They've already failed the mastery test, right? Again, it's not about doing your best. It's about doing what it takes. It's about digging in as opposed to pivoting. So again, if there was a secret, it's just to go all in, be driven by purpose. And by the way, purpose, yours and theirs, right? Like again, pushing and not allowing them overwhelm and their excuses and their limiting beliefs to monopolize your coaching relationship. Because I got to tell you, if that's what's happening, that's a client that is going to be canceling in the not too distant future, if not immediately. Right. So like, are you working to get a client or are you working to change the world? Right. That's purpose. Remember, the bottom of my daily emails, what do I say? Marriages break up from a lack of money over a lack of love times 100. And by the way, that is not an opinion. That's not something that I think. That's not something I'm passionate about. That is something that I know to be fact. And I am very passionate about it. So anyway, so I would dare say that rises to the, this is a purpose. This is different than trying to get a coaching client to pay you $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year. This is about, being driven by something significantly more meaningful, because that divorce on the other end of it has often got a few kids involved. Right. And not to mention, the lighting of fire of, 10 years of net worth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So like prospects don't actually have to think about it. And they don't have to ask their wives or their husbands or their spouses, right? We make rules for betas and we break rules for alphas. Translation, what do I want you to take away from that? Be an alpha, operate like an alpha, carry yourself like an alpha, right? Like don't walk in like you want to buy it, walk in like you own it. Move slow and move in a deliberate, purposeful way. Like the richest people in the world build networks, right? So think, there's something I was thinking of this morning, like think CNN, think Fox, think Facebook, think YouTube, etc. Right? Like, and I built a pretty reasonable network of business coaches and consultants. I've got a magazine of well over 100,000 subscribers that get my daily email. Well, guess what? People reach out to me all the time. Why? They want to do a JV. They want to do an interview. They want to know if I want to acquire. I literally got a text message within the last 15 minutes of somebody asking if I want to acquire a business, right? And why are they doing that? Not because I'm tall and dark and handsome, which Road Dogg very clearly, although my tan is pretty good right now, by the way. But no, it's because I built a network, right? A network makes you attractive. Like rock stars get girls because they're stars, not because they're good looking, right? That's straight from Seth Godin, by the way, who I love. Anybody can get up and sing karaoke, but a real rock star owns the stage, right? It's not, it's something you can feel. It's their vibe, like the waiter in the high-end restaurant. So like, don't walk into the networking group like you want to buy the place, walk in like you own it. How do you position yourself when you walk in? Again, it's not arrogance. It's confidence. Move slower, but more deliberate than the others. Needing nothing attracts everything. You want to walk in like you got nothing to prove, nothing to hide, in control, but not trying to control. That's the state that you want to transfer. That's the state that you want to bring across. Said differently, it's like the centeredness of a grandfather, right? And I might just finish off this shoots with like the opposite of that, of the confidence I'm describing: fear, stress, anxiety. And that's often, I believe, the way somebody walks into a networking function when they don't have clients and they need clients and they're hoping one might be waiting for them there. What does fear, stress, and anxiety do to your body? I can tell you, it speeds your body up, right?
So
That is not a good thing.
it's like the luxury brand, if you will, with a high price tag.
Oh, exactly. Shoots. Like luxury brands, people don't buy what they sell. They buy what it says about them, right? People don't buy what they sell. They buy what it says about them to purchase it, to hold it, to drive in it, to have it on their wrist, right? Luxury branding isn't about charging more. It's about meaning more, right? Like meaning matters. Think of, the purposeful business coach, like getting into Harvard. Students become elite by association. Just the fact that they got let in, right? And it's Gucci, it's Louis Vuitton, it's Rolex, it's Ferrari. They don't sell expensive bags, cars, or watches. They're not luxury brands because they have high prices. They're luxury brands because they understand psychology. They don't sell products. I would say that they sell permission, right? They provide access to a different world and one that they want to enter, right? And that, by the way, is a very powerful offer to make, is one you bring people into a world that they want to be a part of, right? Really, if you break it down, they sell identity. Like if they suddenly lowered their prices, demand wouldn't go up for Louis Vuitton, Gucci, etc. Demand for their stuff would actually die off, right? So price for them, it's a filter. Like think who, in quotes, who should not have access. You'll never see this. You'll never see like luxury stuff in Walmart, Target, and these types of places, right? There's zero chance. Those stores, they shouldn't have access in Gucci's opinion, in Louis Vuitton's opinion, right? Like Gucci burn inventory that don't sell at the end of the year so that it's impossible for this stuff to get out and be sold cheap, right? So, and they don't sell a product, they sell a narrative, right? Like Gucci and Burberry, they use bold aesthetics, right? Like Burton snowboards, they have cultural edge. Apple, what would you say? It's like Apple have got, I'm going to call it artistic rebellion, right? Ferrari have got Italian craftsmanship, right? The operating system behind a luxury brand is controlled scarcity, not fake scarcity, which we've all seen. 5 spots left, or the offer is going to disappear in 24 hours. Harvard literally doesn't let you in. You need to pay and wait a year to get your new Ferrari. And you got to pay up front, and it's a non-refundable deposit that you put down. Same with Rolex, right? Like, and by the time you get it, it's worth twice as much as what you paid. Why? Because they're investments and because they do that limited distribution at such a high level, right? And that's exactly what they do. They limit distribution. They release collections in a controlled manner, right? Ruthlessly avoid overexposure. You'll never see them justify their pricing. Why? Because justification kills desire, right? How do I know that? Where does that come from? It's psychology 101. A luxury brand will never position themselves as this is for everyone. They sell you an identity. And then maybe Shoot's a little bit long-winded, but like messages for coaches, if anyone can get your offer, it feels like it's for them, then no one is going to be drawn to it, right? So exclusivity is clarity, right? Or maybe translation, scarcity creates want. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. And think Harvard, right? Would your kid like to get into Harvard? Would you like to get your kid into Harvard? Would you like to see your grandkids get into Harvard? I would be amazed if you wouldn't say yes, right? And legacy, by the way, that creates trust, right? Like Gucci, how long's it been around? It's been around for forever, like 100 years. They also use Shoots symbols, right? So think, like I love my Ralph Lauren, right? Like I love polo. That polo symbol is iconic. And it basically shows that you spent twice as much as you needed to on the dress shirt or the pants or whatever, whatever it is that you're wearing. And price creates respect, by the way. Ferraris are rare for a reason, because only a certain category of people are either crazy enough to buy them or could afford them. And by the way, as I think about that, there's a lot of people driving Ferraris that probably shouldn't be driving Ferraris, but we'll leave that one, Shoots. That's a whole nother psychology rabbit hole I could go down. But I think maybe Shoots, just think push and pull, right? People who buy Ferraris feel pulled towards them. Ferrari is not pushing this stuff on anybody, right? Once again, message for coaches to help their clients. Stop your clients from trying to be liked by everybody. What do you want them to do, or what's the better frame? You don't want to be liked, you want to be respected, right? And certainly stop the race to zero, right? Like Apple have Ferrari-like pricing with Toyota numbers. Their goal is not to get into Walmart, get into Target, and mass produce this stuff so that, they're super cheap. Not the goal, right? Which again, you're a client generally lowering their prices, adding products and services. You look at the frame, lowering their prices and adding products and services. If you look at the luxury brands of the world, the Ferraris and the Rolexes and the Louis Vuitton and the Burberry, only premium prices and very few products and services. That's the exact opposite frame that your average coaching client is driving towards, like organically, right? Anyway, so, stop. They, again, want to be careful to be the low-cost provider. Let's put it that way. Certainly, Shoots, I want to throw this back. Stop over-explaining value, right? Like craftsmanship and excellence speaks for itself. Never going to see Ferrari justifying their pricing, right? And protecting access, like not being available to everybody. Literally spoke to one of our coaches this morning, and one of their clients is so busy, can't keep up, to do. And I'm like, look, they immediately they got to double their, I don't, roughly, arbitrarily double their prices and have significantly less clients and provide significantly more value. And by the way, that discussion came after an explanation of the owner, the situation, where they're at, the industry that they're in, etc. But you want to, protect access. The average business owner, you tell me if they're thinking along those lines organically. I think you'd agree that the answer is absolutely not. They're running in the wrong direction, looking for a sunset, and they're doing it enthusiastically, right? Not good. And okay, Shades, and also just again on Louis Vuitton, Ferrari, luxury brands, they tell a story that is bigger than their product. Question: when your client gets somebody on the phone, is there a story attached to their brand, their company, and their deliverable? And I'm going to say no. And then my question is, like, what is that? Right? And maybe I said this earlier, but I think I got to say it again. But like, the ultimate offer is a world that they want to be a part of and join you in, right? That is Louis Vuitton. That is Burberry. That is Rolex. That is Ferrari. So like luxury branding is people don't buy what they sell. They buy what it says about them. Right. And again, luxury branding isn't about charging more. It's about meaning more. Right. So meaning matters, Shoots. That was a little bit of a rabbit hole, Shoots, but yeah, luxury brands. I love it.
It's not charging more, it's meaning more. What a perfect segue, Shoots. Here we go. That seems like you're just, sitting on a rock on a beach and just looking at the ocean, thinking about the universe. Lead us, Zen Master, in the Zen thought of the day.
Zen thought. I'm not feeling very Zen right now, Shoots. What am I going to say? You know what? Okay, I'm thinking of Arthur Brooks. He teaches happiness at Harvard, if you can believe it. That's actually that's a thing, right? So anyway, there's 4 things that he says the happiest people do. I'm going to say, I don't know if he said every day, but like it's calendarized. Let's put it that way, right? 1 is practice their faith. 2 is they're close to their families. 3 is they have friends. And then very importantly, he's got some terminology around this, but I'm just going to say real friends. And real friends are not friends who are looking to get something out of one another. I think he calls them deal friends. Okay. So not real friends, but deal friends, friends that are looking for a deal. Right. So they've got real friends. And then was that 1, 2, 3? I think that's 3, 4. I think I'm at, they take their work seriously and they get meaning from their work, right? So they're serving other people and adding value. Kind of sounds lame as I'm saying that, but like add value to other people's lives, right? So, and then he would go on to say something to the effect of, unfortunately, all 4 in decline. And by the way, I want to add a 5th. So this doesn't come from him, but I believe it should be added there. And it's learning, right? Readers are leaders. And by the way, that don't listen to what I'm saying. Don't believe what I'm saying. Go and do your homework. And then you tell me if the Warren Buffetts and the Charlie Mungers and the Ray Dalios, are reading books and talking about books, etc. Right. I think you're going to find that is absolutely the case. So the problem that Brooks would say is that people are less likely to practice faith, right? Like meditation can fall into this, by the way. But they're not doing it as much as we used to, right? They're less likely to have families. By the way, don't listen to what I'm saying. Look at the statistics. You tell me if I'm right. Like highly likely to get things like politics, create rifts and separation within the family. I'll let you decide if that's, and yes, I think instinctively, like that is a thing that has never really been a thing, right? Like, so again, doesn't make a lot of sense, but they're less likely to have close relationships with their family. They spend more time on their phone than they do with real friends, right? Remember, people are getting lonelier and lonelier because virtual social interaction is like fast food for a diet, right? When you eat fast food, when you're hungry, it satisfies you for a very short period of time, and then you end up hungrier. Why? There's literally no nutritional value whatsoever in it, right? And then you wonder why you put on 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, right? So, and then the other thing that he said, like people are becoming more and more technical with their work and not dialing in on meaning, right? So I think of some AI death loops that are going on here where people are thinking like, what the hell is the point of all this, right? And frankly, I understand how they're coming to that determination, if I'm honest with you, right? Like they feel like the robots are coming. So in a nutshell, and I don't know, learning, are people, reading more, reading less? Are they, and I would dare say with the advent of, YouTube and how easy it is to educate yourself nowadays, maybe that's happening at, the same, or maybe even a higher level. But I think the others are in decline, right? Faith is on decline. High level relationship with families is on decline. social, friendships, right? Because again, we have friends, but we're spending time on our phone instead of spending time face to face, belly to belly, toes to toes. That's, by the way, that's a very important distinction there, right? So like, texting with your friend is not the same as getting together for a beer or a coffee or a lunch or a breakfast or a dinner, right? And then people are, meaningful work. People are getting more and more technical, right, with what they're doing, and they're not going towards meaning; they're going away from it. And again, I think a lot of people, and I'm going to speak specifically to the 30-year-olds in the room. They're kind of thinking like, what the heck? And maybe the 20-year-olds in the room, it's like, what the hell's the point of all this? And always remember this: social media shoots. Comparison is the thief of joy. And that is something that you consciously, if you do not do this consciously, I don't think it's, going to be a positive for you. So you've got to avoid it. You got to make sure as you're looking through social media and whatnot, that you're really controlling the comparison trap that, the Zuckerbergs of the world are laying out for us all, and starting and including me, to be very, very clear. So I don't know, just the social media is a death loop for happiness, in my opinion. That's my words, not Arthur Brooks. Very important. But anyway, shits, I don't know. That's all I got for Zen, bud. As per usual, I don't know how Zen I'm doing, but that's a good thing to keep going. Lots of positive jump back on it.
There you go. Hey, one last one, and then we got to wrap this puppy up. But I'll put a real nice bow tie on this thing. But you had said that rather than elevating, I'm quoting here, rather than elevating your best habit, you're better to stop your worst.
Yeah.
Wow. Can you give us just real quick to close us out? Because I think, again, as we start off the year, folks, this is gold. I have a feeling you're about to hear. So give us an example of stopping your worst habit.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. Nuances. And to be clear, you should do what you're good at versus try to be good at what you're bad at. Right? Am I framing that right? Like, again, do what you're good at. Don't go to things you're bad at and try to improve them as a framework. Right? That's a different distinction than what you're asking me here, which is important. It's a fact that stopping your worst activity will get you further than starting your best activity, but that it'll make you uncomfortable. Don't take your boat further out into the lake to fix the hole, is what I'm saying, right? Like, what's your worst activity? And that might be doom scrolling on Facebook, right? Maybe it's ideation without execution. Maybe it's hiding from your phone and outreach. Maybe it's the video games. Maybe it's the booze. Maybe it's the drugs. Maybe it's porn for you, right? But you got to stop it. Certainly improve it on a daily basis until under control. Remember, control your worst habits and the needle will move, assuming you use that time in a more productive way and towards your goals, right? So it's like, you hire the cleaner. Hiring the cleaner is a great idea, but here's my question. How are you using the 1 hour that you would be cleaning your house while somebody is cleaning your house on your behalf? Are you studying? Are you learning? Are you training? Are you hitting the gym? Are you studying taxes? Are you studying accounting? Are you studying sales? Are you studying marketing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to I would encourage you to think about using it for a high level task. And by the way, having a nap for an hour would fall into that because, well, you tell me if sleep is important, but you got to tell me how much sleep you're getting. If you're not getting 8 hours a night, then sleeping while the cleaner is there is actually going to be an effective use of your time. Right. But anyways, you got to make sure that you're using that time in a productive way. Like, focus is eliminating distractions more than it is focusing. Remember, no is a decision. Yes is a responsibility. What does Warren Buffett say? He constantly says something to the effect of, he says no to almost everything. Like, most people's default answer is yes. And Warren Buffett's default answer is no. Right. But the average person is hyper distracted by new and next. An average person who owns a successful landscaping business or a chiro or a dentist, what are they doing? They're searching for houses on the internet in the area. They search for cars for sale. They watch their stocks literally every single day. They go to their bank account every single day, multiple times per day. They got into crypto and watch it 24/7. First thing they do in the AM, what? Doom scroll. They get out of bed and hit their phone, Instagram, Facebook, play video games on their phone at lunch hour. Plus, they tend to look at like things like job boards and go down rabbit holes of, you know, what's out there and what other opportunity, and could I be making comparison is the thief of joy, right? Like if you're constantly looking at, you know, different jobs out there, I just find it hard to believe that that's going to be a satisfying activity for you generally, unless it's time to go find a damn new job. Then okay, go find a damn new job, but then go find it and then perform at a really high level, you know, provide an insane amount of value and get bonuses and make all kinds of money. But don't constantly go and look at job boards. That's just a horrific idea, right? And not to mention they watch, you know, hockey during the week. They watch football on Sunday. They have poker night on Thursday with the boys and beers, right? Like if this same guy got uber focused and agreed to watch one hockey game during the week and one game on Sunday with his buddies and cut all searching for online, you know, the houses, the job, certainly turned off the video games, took them straight off of his phone. Like, don't stop going to it. You know, if you're doing it on your phone, like take the app off your phone so it's not even possible, right? If junk food is your thing, get a hold of the junk food and remove it from the cupboard so it's no longer a thing, right? Alcohol is your thing. Take the alcohol and remove it from your house. And then at 10 o'clock, like, remember, all diets work until like 7:30 at night, right? So if you want to go on a diet, what you need to do is create a strategy, a plan, a framework for 7:30 and until you go to bed. That's the most important part of the night. If you're the person that likes to have a, you know, a couple beers, right, every night, which I dare say you would agree that that's probably a negative. What do you got to do? You got to create you'll be fine until 7:30, and 7:30 until you go to bed. That's where you got to manage it. Same thing with cigarettes and vaping and all kinds of stuff. So at the end of the day, you got to go, you know, you got to go to the worst habit, and improve that. And you will see you know what I mean? It's going to be a net positive, you know. Certainly stop the doom scrolling on Facebook. And by the way, you're talking to somebody who spends too much time on Facebook, and I'm more than happy to admit that. But at the end of the day, I'm very conscious of it. And guess what? I keep it under control. And for that reason, and notwithstanding, when I'm scrolling and I see, you know, all these influencers and all the likes and the hearts and the comments and the shares and this and that, I just manage my psychology around it, right? Remember, comparison is the thief of joy. So I got to manage this stuff just like you do, and our kids do, and our spouses do. Anyway, so, you know, you stop that stuff. This is going to improve productivity by, like, I'm going to give an arbitrary number, but like 5x. And I would dare say that it might be easily. So that's what I mean by that. But you know, stopping your worst habit, you know, elevating your best habit is one thing. And by the way, you should be working towards that also. But if you've got some of those worst habits, and let's call that video games, eliminate that, or maybe that's the doom scrolling on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, etc. Remove that, and I think you're gonna have a 5x experience in a positive way. How'd I do, Shoots? That help? You like that?
Yeah, it reminds me very much of Jordan Peterson made that comment once where he said, if you want to improve your life, just sit at the end of your bed and have that hard, long look at your life and go, what's the one thing that I'm doing that's actually just ruining my life and sabotaging myself? You know, and even that's the reality. We always
Yeah.
we don't look at the things that we can cut out. We just keep adding. It's like, no. What if you just what's one thing that if you just eliminated that would just it's a domino, right? It's how do you have a better evening and not drink and not eat and you fall in love with the morning, because then it's like, no, I need this rest because I love my mornings more than I do that sedation in the evening, right? So there you go.
Buddy, I love it.
Excellent work, my friend. Excellent. Hey, listen, everybody, thanks for tuning into another epic episode of Business Coaching Secrets. And if you're not on the inside getting access to Karl's daily emails, or you just want more information on how to build, grow, and scale your coaching company, visit focused.com, subscribe today. And again, if you enjoyed the podcast, please like and subscribe, and also share with a fellow coach, as we are trying to make our impact on the entire coaching community. And while you're at it, why not leave us a review and give us your thoughts? That is it. I can't believe it. That is it for another week. This episode just flew by. We will see you in the next episode, everybody. And remember, progress equals happiness. Take care, everybody.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.